Hello YouTube, it is August 26, 2019, and we're back with another video regarding Monique, and this time with the actress Aida Rodriguez. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Y'all knows I don't do Spanish too well, so Aida Rodriguez, I hope that's the correct pronunciation. But honey, the plot thickens, honey. The plot thickens. So let's get on into this. So if y'all don't recognize Senorita Ada Rodriguez, she is a comedian. She's a Latina comedian. Most commonly known though as a contributor to the Young Turks. So you see her over on the Young Turks for people who follow the that liberal based network over there. So she was on the Breakfast Club and she was mentioning how she is currently on comedy tour. She's under the umbrella of Tiffany Haddish. All of them started out together, this, that, and the third, and Tiffany brought her on. But what led to that was none other than, in my Monique voice, Charlamagne, honey. Or like I like to call him, Charlene the motherfucking goddess, to quote T.S. Madison. Cause Charlene was being messy with this shit. So in this 26-minute interview, why did Charlene the Goddess feel the need to bring up the Monique situation? But then when Monique turns around and Dargon responds, she's seen as the angry black bitter bitch that can't let it go. Now, wasn't this the same motherfucker that just said that Dargon Monique can't let shit go? Like this the same motherfucker who Dargon said a couple days ago, oh, she been talking about the same shit for 15 years. She need to let this shit go. She need to do this, that, and the third. Putting a time limit on somebody's pain when they post the darn gonna let shit go, especially the Oprah situation with her family. I don't think there should be a time limit on that, but that's neither here nor there. I've already mentioned that in my comedy hype video. We'll get to that in a moment. But needless to say, this was on August 16th, right? And he mentioned about how she ended up, taking a high road like so many other people have done. Because leading up to the comedy hype, and we're going to go to the comedy hype real quick. Now, comedy hype was done on, well, it was recorded a few days before they uploaded it on August the 8th, and I broke it down. And she did respond about, the person ended up asking her about Charlamagne the God, and she said her opinions of Charlamagne stayed the same. Now she didn't bring Charlamagne up at all. The host actually brought him up, and she just simply said that her critique of Charlamagne was the same. She didn't go on a comedy. She didn't continuously bring his name up through the. I don't know. Well, sector. I backpedal on that. She has brought him up a couple times on her platform, but here's my thing. Charlamagne's been doing the same thing though, so I'm trying to figure out why is he trying to darn gonna silence her when he's darn gonna been keeping the name? Because if you found that the shit was so irrelevant, why do you keep asking every darn gone comedian that comes on here? Because he's gonna ask within the past year, he done asked Sinbad. Sinbad done took the high road and didn't darn gonna fall for the shit. Who else? I think Dave Chappelle asked the same thing. Then you try to get darn going. Who else? It's been like 3, 4 comedians. She's like the 5th comedian that Tiffany Haddish. You brought Tiffany Haddish in the shit. Tiffany Haddish. Then I think you try to bring Kevin Hart, and you know Kevin Hart wasn't going to throw Monique under the bus. So Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, Sinbad, I want to say Dave Chappelle, one other darn gone comedian I'm not too familiar with, and now you ask the same thing of Aida Rodriguez, and this darn gone shit with y'all has happened over a year ago. So needless to say, she took the high road as well and paid the motherfucking dust. So moving on, to highlight the differences between this interview versus when she did one just recently on DL Hughley. Same thing came up as far as the Netflix minus Monique, and on the DL Hughley show, she was able to darn gone stick to how Tiffany Haddish has helped her out and has paid it forward. versus you making the situation all about, me, what am I being paid, this, that, and the third. And I thought that was a little bit divisive. Y'all got that, they ain't back to copyright strike me, honey. I already got one copyright from Hannibal, honey. I'm surprised some of y'all was able to see that video. I'm currently appealing that decision right now. They got my last video blocked in over 16 different countries. So it's not a copyright strike, but they got me blocked in the countries, including the United States. But back to the subject. With the D.L. Hughley situation, she brought up an interesting topic about how Tiffany Haddish paid it forward. She took a pay cut and she didn't get paid nowhere near to the extent of Dave Chappelle and all of them. And I think that's very bittersweet, because my thing is this. That is altruistic and good that she did that. It's good that Tiffany Haddish did that, but what message is that sending where it's like, okay, you continuously to settle, and yeah, you bringing your girls along at more of your expense, but if y'all are not collectively speaking up, y'all are still going to be in this situation where you're just making just enough. You're in middle class, so to speak. Because I think Tiffany Haddish was offered $800,000, but she was probably offered a little bit over $1 million, but she settled for the decrease to $800,000 to pay for the rest of them. That's still not a lot of money. Now, granted, Tiffany Haddish is not no Monique or anything right there. She's just the currently it girl. But hell, isn't the old girl the one they paid $13 million to? The one they said, well, yeah, Amy Schumer. Ain't Amy Schumer just fresh on the darn gone block as far as popularity? So she ain't pretty much in no better position than Tiffany Haddish. Both of them are just blew up out of nowhere. They both been doing their things for years, but Tiffany Haddish and darn gone Amy Schumer are both in the same era from what I see. Both of them sell out on similar levels, I want to say. Now, Amy Schumer probably a little bit more, but I'm thinking proportionately, Tiffany Haddish ain't that far behind. I'm thinking if she can sell out a third of Madison Square Garden, and if she is bringing in movies that is matching in net profit, if not better than Amy Schumer's movies, then how come she didn't get $13 million Netflix deal? Because then Girls Trip do over $100 million, and the budget for that was like only $20 million, versus Amy Schumer's movie was $43 million, but only grossed $45. So I'm trying to figure out how in the hell is they getting these darn on lowball offers for black women, but then the white woman, they darn on don't mind giving 8 figures to. I want Netflix to answer that question, because in regards to Tiffany Haddish current resume, because if y'all don't want to go on the past, let's go to the present. She's been turning it out lately too. Now y'all can't say she's difficult to work with. Y'all can't say that she has any stigma on her, because everybody, for the most part, in the media loves Tiffany. So I'm trying to figure out why did she have to take a low ball offer and cut herself even lower to help her fellow sisters out. Now it's good that she brought other people along for the ride, but my thing is this: what's the point of bringing other people along if y'all are not going to use y'all collective voices to eventually darn going stand up against the injustices of darn going pay equality? So yeah, y'all can say, well, it's more of a self-centeredness when you're seeing somebody like Monique talk about it from the individual perspective, but I think not, because when it comes to Monique is making it where people will get paid fairly, where you would have got your fair pay without nobody else having to take a pay cut. So once again, I thought that was darn going somewhat doing y'all own selves in when y'all was pretty much saying, well, Tiffany Haddish took a pay cut. That's pretty much saying that she's selling, she waiting on the next one, like Monique said. And when is the next one going to come? Hell, darn old Tiffany Haddish been in this game for over 20-some years a damn self. Tiffany Haddish ain't new to this. She just darn gonna finally got put on to this. Tiffany Haddish been doing this shit since she was a teenager, and she's now going on 40 years old. So, once again, Why do we have to keep waiting on the next one to quote darn on Monique? I don't understand it. And speaking of darn on Sister Unity, I found something else interesting that darn on added some validity to darn on some validity to Monique's claims. Now Monique also once again on Comedy Hype, she mentioned how they will be quick to let you go after you get the Oscar or the Emmy or something. You know, everybody done faced it and got difficult. I mean, it don't matter whether you're male or female for the most part. Goody Downey Jr. haven't had no hit since his darn on Oscar. Um, who else? Monique has faced difficulty. Octavia Spencer, the white woman had to darn going speak on her behalf to get $1 million payday, even though Octavia Spencer is an Oscar-winning darn going actress. Viola Davis is the top call on the pay sheet, yet she's just getting paid a little bit over $2 million per movie. Then we go over to Instagram where Monique darn on showcases darn on top paid actresses for 2018. Darn on Viola Davis ain't nowhere near on darn on sheet. And mind you, they factor in the TV shows in addition to the movies as far as highest paid actress. But once again, on How to Get Away with Murder, she's only making what 250,000 per episode. But Marisha Haggerty is making twice as much. But you got Viola Davis, who is a Emmy winner, Oscar winner, and two-time Tony winning actress. Once again, highlighting the double standard. And then to make matters worse, then you got Loretta Devine. I'm glad that she was able to laugh the situation off, but I thought this was pretty problematic too, talking about how she got fired off of Grey's Anatomy right after she won the Emmy. She was a darn on favorite on Grey's Anatomy. Loretta Devine is an iconic actress in the game. Like she's that actress that plays everybody auntie. She's like Jennifer Lewis. Oh, and also knowing my watch list in the background. This is all my stuff that I have in my watch. No, this is actually my favorites list. But this is all my stuff I have in my favorites. But anyways, back to Loretta. Everybody knows Loretta Devine. Loretta has been in everything. She is pretty much like the niece equivalent to darn on Cicely Tyson. You know how Cicely Tyson plays everybody darn on grandma. Honey darn on Loretta plays everybody's chocolate mother for the most part. Jennifer Lewis the same way. She's like that crazy auntie. But she was mentioning how every time darn on Debbie Allen comes over, she's darn on getting kicked out the show. They darn on use Debbie Allen as the middle person to darn on deliver the news to the Loretta. So we're not going to blame necessarily Debbie Allen, but the fact that Debbie Allen was to get along to go along to this, I thought was problematic itself. Now, if y'all don't know who Debbie Allen is a icon in herself. She's a producer who's also done some acting work as well. And she is the sister to none other than Felicia Rashad. Now, Felicia Rashad, oh, wait a minute. Y'all can't see it because my thing is in the way. Let me move on over. So, Felicia Rashad is, you know, The Cosby Show. So, as y'all can see, that's Debbie Allen on the right and Felicia Rashad. I mean, this is Debbie Allen on the left and Felicia Rashad on the right. Miss Clara Huxtable, and she's also starred in The Cosby Show herself, but she mostly does the directing. Almost like the Smith sisters, you know, Tasha from Empire that plays the crackheaded sister of Cookie. She has a twin sister that does the directing. That's about how like they is. Like they're sisters, but one does directing more than acting, and one does acting more than directing. Because I think Felicia Rashad has dabbled in the directing realm, but her sister is the one that specializes in that arena. She's also a professional dancer and all of those things as well. So let me readjust my thing. But yeah, she was mentioning how I wish I can play this, but I don't want to chance it. So I'm going to think of what she said. She was like, she was on one show, and then Debbie Allen came in, and she was fired. Then she was on Grey's Anatomy. As soon as she got the Emmy, Shonda Rhimes wanted her off, and then she was fired. And then she mentioned the client list and how Debbie Allen was going to come over and do some darn work on the client's list, and she was afraid about being fired. So they made a joke of this situation, but they have overall worked together over the years and have done tons of plays and stuff together. So in this rare case, it wasn't no necessarily no malice intent. I hope not, but it's still coincidental. And I'm glad that Loretta was able to somewhat laugh the situation off, and it wasn't really problematic because I could have seen that this would have really been a hot button issue, especially with Loretta being an iconic dark skinned actress, and Debbie Allen being of a lighter hue. That would have sparked some con because I think they are of Creole descent, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say um Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen have some Creole roots. Let me Google search their place of origin. I definitely know they're in Houston, Texas, but just like Tina knows, Houston is an extension of New Orleans. You got the third ward in Houston, Texas. So let me go ahead and Google search ethnicity real quick. I definitely know racially they're black and they identify as black, but I want to know culturally if they're Creole. No, although it does give a good, interesting history about them escaping to Mexico to escape U.S. racism. Mm, okay, I guess just light skinned black. I don't know where I got I thought they was also of Creole origin. No, but they got her labeled as African American. But needless to say, I thought that was problematic though within itself. Especially Shonda Rhimes, ironically having Debbie Allen of all people to fire, Debbie Allen of all people fire Loretta Devine. I thought that was very problematic. I'm like trying to cause a rift between sisterhood. And then it's like if anybody should know about pay equality, it's her. It's like, yeah, you got the highest deal, but once again, like Monique said, did they pay you what you was worth? Because they gave what Shonda Rhimes $100 million for Netflix, but then they gave the white man from Fox 300 million, even though Shonda Rhimes shows bring in tons more profit in net revenue than the white guy they offered the $300 million to. So it goes to show that no matter what tax bracket you at, they're always disproportionately darn on paying the lighter skinned black person or the white person more money than what you are. Because you got Monique being the highest paid darn on, I mean, the most highest well known, most awarded accredited comedian alive. She's a dark skinned black woman and she's getting offered $500,000 compared to somebody who just got put on like an Amy Schumer who's getting 13 million out the gate. Well, she negotiated to 13 million. She was originally offered $11 million, but somehow Monique wasn't able to negotiate it all. But then people want to say that her husband is a bad manager because he's negotiating the deals wrong, but they're telling you that they wasn't even allowed to negotiate. But somehow they're not explaining to Monique why was, Amy Schumer allowed to renegotiate her salary deal. How come it wasn't a take it or leave it for her? And she's just new to the game, and she got current hits right now. And y'all thought that she was only worth 11 million. How come y'all didn't stay firm in y'all words with her? And she was able to renegotiate. And if y'all saying that y'all don't go off of resumes and y'all only go off of anticipation, then what was the difference in anticipation when darn on Amy Schumer had y'all reconsider her salary and increase her by $2 million, but y'all couldn't even give Monique 4 or 5 million? Because like I said, Monique is not worth $20 million. I understand that even as the most accredited darn on comedian, I do recognize Monique is not going to bring in that much of a return to justify paying her 20 million. However, I broke that down as well that she should have gotten paid between 4.33 to $6.25 million. So she didn't even get paid proportionally comfortable to what she is worth. And that's what equal pay for equal work really means. It doesn't mean just because she's a legend, she should have got paid to the degree of, you know, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, because there's different totalities to legends. Like, you know, Tina Turner is going to command a lot more money than Diana Ross. Diana Ross is selling out arenas today versus Tina Turner can still sell out stadiums. And then you got Miss Darn on Patty Mayonnaise, honey, Miss Dionne Warwick, right? She want darn on floss around her icon status and shade Queen Bee, honey. Dionne, you be lucky to fill up the nursing home cafeteria for a concert to see you, honey. Because that's the only place that's darn on listening to your music in heavy rotation is darn on nursing home. So it's like, I wouldn't expect Dionne Warwick to get paid nowhere near the amount of, you know, Diana Ross nor Tina Turner. And it's not about darn on Dionne being black, because if we was to mention a legendary black person that can still command that amount of money today, it would be Patti LaBelle. So it's like, once again, not all legends get paid the same, but still I would expect you to get paid proportionally to what you're worth. And the fact that Shonda Rhimes got lowballed on a 9-figure salary deal, Monique got lowballed on a 7-figure salary deal, and then we got all our darn on other actresses stuff getting lowballed on 6-figure salary deals, from Loretta Devine, because I know she was getting paid only probably like 100,000, and I'm being very generous, 100,000 per episode on Grey's Anatomy. And once again, that's being very generous, because Cookie on Empire is only making 250,000 an episode, and she's a Emmy winning and Oscar winning actress. So I definitely know they ain't paying Loretta Devine more than they're going Cookie, even though technically with, you know, her resume and her name power and status, she's been in this game far longer than they're going, you know, Cookie. But you know, once again, it's this industry of what have you done for me lately, because once again they justified not paying Monique what she was worth, because they're going off of current anticipation and who's the hot girl right now. So since Taraji P. Henson is the hot girl right now, and Loretta is just known in our black neighborhoods, I know maybe she's only get paid $100,000, but now she got Emmy, she supposed to get paid more, just like her other counterparts that are white. Like Kelly Kokio won the Emmy for Big Bang Theory, and she was making upwards of $1 million per episode. But you can't name one black person who can say that on the TV. So to go back to Senorita Aida Rodriguez talking about, you know, female unity and, you know, paying it forward. Yes, it's all good to pay it forward to a certain extent, but it's like you owe it more to yourself to darn on speak out more on a collective, instead of letting darn on one person having to darn on speak up for everybody, and y'all making it even harder by darn on settling for less. All y'all have settled for less, have darn on stayed quiet, have darn on allowed other black people to continue this darn on hierarchy game. Darn on Loretta darn on getting the occasional firing from Debbie Allen, instead of utilizing all y'all strengths as beautiful black women and Latina women to darn on get yourselves together. I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, I don't. But to go into another point of how to go by for females to get on equal standing, I think when it comes to Monique, Monique should do like Dave Chappelle did. Dave Chappelle took some time off and came up with his own independent work, and he sold it. He sold the initial one to Netflix, and then that's how he was able to get his 20 million. I think Monique should do something like that at this point. Except instead of Netflix, she done burnt the bridge with Netflix, honey. Now, Monique can come up with a cure for cancer and do a documentary on it. And I think because of how hateful they are towards Monique at this point, they wouldn't even entertain Monique, even if she came out with a documentary for the cure for cancer. So what Monique needs to do is go to Hulu. I want Monique to do an independent comedy thing, fund it, and have she already got her backup, because another thing people don't recognize is Monique has constantly put people on, just because it is not mentioned. And that's another thing. It's good that Tiffany Haddish put people like Aida Rodriguez on. However, just because you don't see nobody else doing something in the forefront does not mean they're not doing things behind the scenes. Like Beyonce, for example, people always say what Beyonce's doing for the black community. But then when you Google search and do extensive research on what Beyonce's done, she's done plenty for the black community and her communities throughout the nation. But she's a Virgo, she's introverted, she don't speak on stuff, because when you're doing stuff out of the kindness of your heart, you don't need to post everything that you're doing on Facebook or Twitter for a darn on response. You just do it out of kindness. Now, I would expect that Tiffany Haddish probably doing the same thing, because I don't expect that, I don't think she put, Senorita Aida Rodriguez up to darn on mentioning this at all. However, I felt like it was a little dig towards Monique that they was mentioning that, like, if Monique ain't, put people on, and she's put people on such as Cheryl Underwood, Lonnie Love, and all of them. Okay, my darn on camera froze for a moment. But like I said, she done put on, people such as Lonnie Love and all of them. And now she's currently putting on new people. So that's another thing I didn't like as well, is when it's like expecting people to push out their archerism on the forefront, and you're not taking the time to see if they're doing stuff behind the scenes. But going back to the topic of what I think all, Lord, is my darn old laptop dying or something? I keep freezing up. But to go back to the topic of what all of them should do is, I think Monique should go to Hulu, and she should darn on do an independent comedy sketch, just like what Dave Chappelle did, and then draw up a contract where if it makes this much money, then you can pay me this percentage. If she does a percentage deal versus a straight payout, I think she would go a lot more further. Like if she does it on a percentage where it's like, okay, I get 15% profit, and the deal went and gone and got $50 million in revenue. So $50 million revenue on a 15% starting out, then she would get paid $7.5 million, and that would get her to being one of the in the top 10 of the actresses, because I think the shortest paid actress in 2019 made a little over 11 million. And Monique constantly makes over $1 million doing stand-up comedy. And then she can finesse a Hulu commercial deal, just like with Tiffany Haddish with the Netflix deal. So she can darn on finesse a $3 million in commercial out of them, in addition to a comedy special. And that will push her above the $10 million mark right there. And once again, I mentioned all that in my previous darn on Monique videos that I've done. She needs to darn on do a commercial, especially since she done permanently burnt her bridge with Netflix. That could actually be a way for her to really go over to Hulu now, because she could be the darn on one that would darn on can talk shit against Netflix. Just like the phone man used to talk shit about the other phone companies. she can do that as far as being a spokesperson for Hulu. She can darn gonna do the comedic sketches and all that over there for Hulu, get $3 million, and then on top of a 15% darn gonna deal for independent movie that she had, and then with 7 figures, she can darn gone properly pay the people that's underneath her as well, because she got some guy that does the stand up with her in every other show that she does. I don't know his name, but she has shouted them out on a frequent basis, and she's constantly putting new acts on. And that's another thing too. Why do we always stick with the certain actors that are familiar with? Like, why aren't we, bringing other black and Latinas out of the darn out of the acting schools? I don't understand that. Or out of the the comedy clubs. Like, I feel like we bring the people that already had somewhat variety, and we just stick with those certain token groups of people as the honorary picks, just like in acting. When you see your beauty queen, your beauty black women, you go to Taraji, you go to Gabrielle Union, Sanaa Lathan, and a couple others. When it goes to the mama role, you go to Loretta Devine and Jennifer Lewis. When it comes to grandma, you go just get Cicely Tyson to play everybody grandma. But you got all these people in acting school, and you're not adding to the list of darn actors. Like, Cicely Tyson don't have to be the only person to play some grandma. It's like, can we get a light skinned person to play the light darn biracial darn grandmother as well? Can we get the brown skinned actor to be the brown skin equivalent to darn Loretta Devine? Like, do we have to keep just recycling darn just a few darn people instead of adding people in? So I feel that needs to be addressed as well. It's good to have a camaraderie of people that's already in the industry with you, but I think you also owe it to people who haven't even gotten their foot in the door to bring them in as well. So I wish darn Aida Rodriguez would have, you would elaborated on that as well, that y'all owe it to bring in people who are still in acting school and is trying to get their darn big breaks as well. So those are my thoughts on that situation right there, regards to this. What do y'all think? Like I said, to bring it back to Monique, Monique needs to do an independent darn person just like Dave Chappelle did, and sell it to Hulu and finesse herself into a commercial deal. And I think that would be a good way for her to make a good $10 million right there. From those two gigs right there, from being a spokesperson for Hulu in addition to doing a Hulu comedy special. Then she would have enough money to also bring in some more new people in under the fold, and then she can darn gonna do an independent movie from there, and then she can darn gonna push that out there. Now I don't think she has the best production credit under her belt, so who can she team up with? I would say Spike Lee. And then Spike Lee, that'll work with him because that adds a different avenue under his portfolio. Because I don't think Spike Lee has ever tackled like a comedy to the degree of which Monique and stuff are. So if you bring Monique in as a co-director and you team up with Spike Lee and you have the funds and come up with your independent venture, and then you go to the movie theaters, then you're putting your own people on, and then you can create the avenue where you can get to where you want to be. Because as the highest paid black woman, you need to get to a status of where your pay is comfortable to a Dave Chappelle, a Chris Rock, and all of them without having to beg the white people to get you there. Monique is too vocal at this point of an activist to have to continue to beg for white dollars and acceptance, because it's not going to happen. She's too cool. She can't even sneak in and finesse her way to the top at this point. So the best bet for Monique is at this point is to make her own way, and by by going over to Hulu, stacking her money up that way, then reinvesting half of that into a independent movie project, and get with somebody like Spike Lee to direct you in how to get it, to the movie screen, all that. And then from there, you're building an avenue where you're getting your own name out there. You're building your validity up, and you're bringing black people and fellow Latinas and everybody else along for the ride that you see fit. That's where I think Monique should go for right there. So I think, Ida Rodriguez, Senorita Ida Rodriguez has some points, but I just want to elaborate on, more about bringing in more people instead of the current people that's, just somewhat well known in the industry. And you're just keeping y'all selves up, but y'all staying silent on these issues. Y'all are still selling for less. Y'all darn on not utilizing y'all collective to darn on combat these people who are giving y'all these lowball offers. So I feel that y'all need the independent route and make a way and pave y'all way your own selves. And that way you will then get the pays that the males are getting. You will give you a $20 million offers just like they're getting. Or you can, like I said, bypass them all together and then just command your own pay. When you do your own movies, and you do your own specials and stuff, and you help your own black networks out, you don't even have to deal with nobody like Netflix. Like if y'all was the darn on utilize y'all celebrity dollars to get Black Junction off the ground and Black Junction TV and Black Avenger and all that, hell, y'all can really bypass YouTube and all that by then. If you can imagine if enough of these celebrities would just invest in those three sites right there, Black Avenger TV, Black Junction TV, and BlackJunction.com, honey, darn on honey, you wouldn't be able to tell them nothing. Can't tell me nothing. Can't tell me something. That way you will have your own promotion and everything. Cause with black entertainment, you would easily get those sites up to the level of YouTube with no time if you had the black celebrities pushing their darn on stuff behind them, the money behind them. And it worked them because in turn it will help them out by getting darn on promotion. It will even help you even more because now you don't have to deal with white counterparts being pushed ahead of you. You don't have to worry about the Google algorithm, which YouTube owns Google. You won't have to worry about them pushing white comedians above you because you got your own black darn on you got your own black YouTube outlet in the form of Black Avenger or Black Junction TV promoting you, and in turn you're promoting them by darn on helping them get to the degree of a YouTube. So it's about helping each other and building up a whole economic system to darn on get you on stand. Because once again, economics is key. You have to darn on build your economics up and darn on think about this from the macro instead of the micro. So that's where I think Monique can from as well. So I see points in both Senorita Ida Rodriguez statements, and I see points within Monique. I think they need to combine their ideas for the betterment of brown and black skinned people overall. Because once again, we do far better together than divided. Once again, we do far better together than divided. If you build up these darn on independent darn on websites, you have your darn on promotions and stuff right there. If you help fellow black people come in through the door and darn put them in your movies and all that, you're building up you're putting yourself in the boss position. You no longer have to be the boss. You no longer be the employee. You can also be a manager to your boss status yourself while still acting. And I think that's where Monique dropped the ball. Everybody else has gotten into boss status, and Monique is still in employee status. Like Kevin Hart got his own thing going on with his network. Martin Lawrence, Dave Chappelle, all of them. D.L. Hughley. Monique is more awarded than all of them. She is the top darn on awarded comedian. She's the top darn on female of all time. And then you telling me top black female of all time, because I don't want to, slight the darn on Ellen DeGeneres and the LPLs and all of them. But and what's the other girl, Melissa McCartney's and all that. But she's the most recognized black comedian, most decorated comedian in general of all time. But you're not even in a boss position to darn gonna do no independent outlet. So I think it's about time that Monique, this point in the game, comes up with a plan, preferably, you know, the one that I described, to get herself in the boss status that she is. Because when you are the boss, you set your own pace from there. And at this part of the game, I don't think Monique should have to be begged at no point for no money at this point from nobody, especially as a vocal activist that you is. It pays for you to actually be your own boss at this point. So she needs to go ahead and take the next steps in her career to get herself up to that degree. So once again, people forward this video on over to Monique. Have to go through the channels of which I told her. Like I said, Hulu would be the best way for her at this point. And then funding, you know, Black Avenger and all of that. Build up your economics. Do away with YouTube. I mean, granted, I'm saying that as I'm darn putting this shit on YouTube right now. But eventually we can darn have our own black equivalent that will have just as much darn view. I mean, not even just as much. If we just get to a tenth. That's the only thing that we need as black people. If we can just get to a tenth of the level of YouTube, we'd be good. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it is backed by people. So I'm not going to say that we will be able to match, you know, YouTube verbatim. However, if we can just get comfortable to YouTube as Target is the Walmart, you know, Target don't make nowhere near as much as Walmart, but it makes just enough where it's seen as a competition. And I feel that's what we need to be as black people. We don't need to necessarily match dollar for dollar, because at the end of the day, we only are 15% population. But once again, you know, I saved that for part 2. This is already going into 45 minutes in this video, because I was about to, now on a global perspective, we could darn really outdo YouTube, because we representing the majority population in the world. But if we're just going to keep this on the United States level and in the immediate Americas, and a couple other countries like, you know, Mexico, Canada, and in the UK, if we just stick it on those levels, then we are the minority as far as that is concerned. As far as UK, United States, Canada, and Mexico, we are the minority. So if we could just get comfortable to YouTube as RJ is the Walmart in our own independent outlets, I think black actors and comedians everywhere would do far better for the greater. And along with those outlets being able to provide opportunities for all content creators, from the beauty gurus, the mukbang, and all of those black people who do that, and you know, everybody in general. It's not just black, but it is black focused. So white people in general can come over there as well. As long as you're not over there on that racist shit, you good. Yeah, the Native American sisters, the Hispanic sisters can come on over there as well. And you know, it would be funneling and building up your black economy by being accepted with everybody. You know, it's a win-win for everybody. So that is it, y'all, because now I feel like I'm talking myself in circles. But what do you think on this? I know I touched a lot of subjects. I didn't even think I was going to even get to this, but that's how it is. I'd be coming on to say one thing, and I'll just go into a whole tangent, and then something pops in my head, and I just come up with a whole idea. So I just came up with a whole business plan for Monique, and that's not even what I did this video about. But maybe that's how it should be, just the, you know, help a fellow sister out to get to where she needs, you know, divine intervention, so to speak. So what are y'all thoughts on this? Once again, shout out to Aida Rodriguez for finally getting recognized for more than just being a contributor over on the Young Turks. Matter of fact, thank goodness, because I think she started dissing herself more from the Young Turks anyway, and start showcasing her own voice, especially the problematic shit going over there with Hassan Piker and, you know, Shink and all them that's going on. For they clear bias towards darn Bernie and everything else, and knowing darn reparations for black people, darn you is claiming your love for blackness. I think she should be more so calling them out on that, but I can see why she would be put in between a rock and a hard place from there. So I'm glad to see that she's starting to get more recognized outside of that darn network, because they got they darn ways them as well. But if we can just get our network equivalent to them as black people, like if we can darn use our collective to get somebody like Phil Bice show up there. And let me go ahead and type in his new African Diaspora Network. Let me just say Device show. It'll pop up his new thing. Like as black people, we need to get all of our stuff up. Wait a minute. Oh shoot. What's going on with my internet? Shit, y'all. My internet done temporarily went out. Why does my internet want to go out right now? Shoot, I don't pay my bill now. So disconnect. Man, it's some bull, y'all. But for y'all that know who Phil the Advice Show is, definitely check him out. Yeah, we need to build up our black news stations, our black media outlets, such as Black Junction, all of those. And I think our black celebrities owe it not only to themselves to set up an economic system to get equal promotion for their own selves, but they owe it to other black people in general to build ourselves up in general. So that is my thoughts, y'all. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all soon with more videos, because unfortunately, my darn old internet wants to pick now of all days to go out. I don't understand why my internet is sporadically going out. I know one thing for certain, two things for sure. Next month, Spectrum, I'm gonna make some darn on changes, because I don't know why my bill increased by $50. Now y'all gonna hear random rant for me, because I don't pay $50 this. My bill done increased by $50, and I'm still dealing with these internet problems. Now hell, it's one thing when my darn bill wasn't being paid, but it's like now, bitch, I done paid y'all, and see this darn what's it called? This net neutrality shit that I don't like. Oh, wait a minute. Sector, I apologize. It's something going on in my area. Because now it ain't showing no network. Oh, I'm so sick of this darn old town. I'm so sorry. And sorry to Spectrum. See, Spectrum, I was cussing y'all ass out for a darn second. And I didn't even think that my darn area I'm in always doing something that's fucking up the darn power lines. Anyways, y'all, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with more videos. Darn. This video is supposed to end on a good note, and I'm darn gonna end it darn gonna talking about my personal. But then y'all know like my darn personal random rants, and I'm about to just subscribe, y'all. I darn gonna watch me some TV since these motherfuckers want to darn mess with the darn power lines.